December, the world turns to Doha, Qatar for chess at its fastest and fiercest. The 2025 FIDE World Rapid and Blitz Championships bring the globe's elite to battle under lightning time controls. December 26th to December 30th, Rapid and Blitz formats designed to reward precision, courage, and creativity. In the heart of the Middle East, Doha offers more than a board, a world-class venue, a cultural backdrop, and a stage worthy of legends. With a €1 million prize fund on the line and the title of world champion at stake. The 2025 FIDE World Rapid and Blitz Championships, the ultimate test of fast chess.
Welcome to the FIDE Online Chess Museum. The International Chess Federation proudly presents the FIDE Chess Museum, an online space celebrating the rich history and evolution of chess. Explore exhibits that trace the game's fascinating journey. Discover the origins of chess, beginning in the distant past, and follow FIDE's centenary journey. Rare chess sets, unique books and memorabilia, autographs of chess legends, trophies of historical tournaments, and stories of the chess champions. Explore the game's legacy and future. Chess is more than a game. It's a global culture of strategy and unity. Join us to experience this unique online journey where history, culture, and passion for chess converge. And also on your phone.
The crucible of competition, the eyes of the world. Goa, India, hosts the 2025 FIDE World Cup, where over 200 of the top chess players in the world face off in an 8-round knockout tournament.
This queen has nowhere to go. That is the end.
Excellence, perseverance, and stamina bring glory, national pride, and a spot at the illustrious Candidates Tournament. The globe's best chess players hope to add their name to the list of champions.
Woo, he made a move in 1 second.
The 2025 FIDE World Cup. Let's get these games started.
Goa's peaceful shores have been the host of one of the most intense and brutal chess competitions, the FIDE World Cup. For nearly a month, this unforgiving knockout format has demanded everything: focus, stamina, and nerves of steel. Over 200 of the world's best chess players set out on this journey. Now only 2 remain. And today marks the final day, the final showdown. A very close matchup for the first place that will be decided in speed chess tiebreaks. We're gonna see Rapid, Blitz, and potentially even Armageddon. Will Wei Yi become the first ever Chinese champion of the World Cup? Or will Uzbekistan's Javokir Sindarov write history by becoming the youngest ever winner of the tournament at the age of 19? I am your host, International Master Anna Rudolph, and I'm thrilled to be here for the final show with world-class commentator Grandmaster David Howell and the greatest female chess player of all time, of course, Grandmaster Judith Polgar. David, Judith, what a day! The final show.
We're here.
Well,
We're here. Let's go.
yeah, I think we are all excited about the playoff, the shorter time control, and it's a special day for the players, I guess, also, as they are playing on already for the 24th day in a row, non-stop, no single free day. So for them, it's going to be tough, but it's very relieving also, I think, after this day.
Indeed, such a long event, and the man that can already celebrate is Andrei Esipenko. He qualified by winning his match yesterday for the third place, and our very own Rakesh caught up with Andrei Esipenko right after the game about his thoughts and feelings on the qualification.
Congratulations, Andrei Esipenko. You are into the candidates. How does it feel?
Oh, it feels like not real, kind of, especially after this match against VE. It was very, very painful, but somehow I managed, I think, to play good chess. So yeah, I'm still extremely happy, and I don't really have too many emotions, thoughts, and yeah, very hard to explain.
And how will you celebrate this achievement?
I will get drunk probably. What else?
And you have David Paravian here, and you also got married recently. Tell us about who would you like to thank for this achievement?
Yeah, I want to thank so many people. My wife, she's very supportive. I'm really happy to have all those people, my family, who really give everything for my success. Also, David here, he had a huge role in this success. My parents, my whole family, my friends. Like after this game against VE, I had so many messages. I had to win, after this. So yeah, I'm very blessed, to have all those people around me.
And lastly, can you tell us about the candidates? Are you going to have big team? Have you thought about the preparation?
No, not at all. I was scared even to think about this. Now I can finally, have some thoughts about this.
Congratulations, Andrei, ensuring one Russian player is always in the candidates.
Yeah,
congrats.
Thank you.
Congratulations to Andrei Esipenko, the newest member of the qualified players to the candidates tournament. And this is our beautiful graphic with the already known names. You note that there is a slight, not yet 100% guaranteed note when it comes to Hikaru Nakamura and Pragnananda, but very likely, highly likely that they will be confirmed too for those spots. And of course, the other 4 players qualified are Caruana, Giri, Matthias Blubaum, and Javokir Sindarov. The 2 finalists from the World Cup, Sindarov and Wei, will play today for the first place, but they both already have qualified to the candidates. This is the final day, David and Judith. As we already said, we cannot be highlighting how long this event been. It's nearly a month, and for the players to be playing for nearly a month with only 2 rest days, I think that has led to several of the moments where bigger mistakes than usual happened, but also it made the tournament very exciting with the tiebreak format, the speed chess, and speed chess is what we have on our hands today. The title of the World Cup will be decided in rapid chess or potentially even blitz and Armageddon. And let's go over to Rakesh. I believe he is on the ground in the playing hall to report us on what we are about to witness. Over to you, Rakesh.
Welcome to the FIDE World Cup. We are in Goa. We are into the finals. This is a tie break for the title between Wei and Javokir Sindarov. We'll see who's going to take the trophy home. Both of them have locked in their candidate seats. But look at the playing hall once. It was filled with 206 players. Now it's completely empty. Even the third place match is over. Congrats to Esipenko, by the way, on getting the candidate spot. But this is the finals. Who will win and become the first World Cup winner from their country? Will it be Uzbekistan or China? We'll find out. And more importantly, there's also a huge prize of $35,000 depending on this match. So it's going to be one of the more expensive or more difficult matches here. because $35,000 on just one day, it's possible. And this is what the players are playing for. It's the World Cup trophy named after Vishy Anand, the Indian legend. And on that stage over there, we'll be seeing the prize one, the closing ceremony with all three medal winners being awarded. Who's going to win? Are you rooting for Yavokir or Wei? Let's see into the broadcast. Back to you guys in the studio.
Thank you so much, Rakesh, for the breakdown. And this is it, the final game, the last two men standing in Goa at the World Cup. The title will be decided in speeches. We are starting with the rapid game of 15 minutes plus 10-second increment. And pawn to d4 is on the board. Are we expecting surprises when it comes to the opening choice? David, I'm going to start with you. We already see the first move, so maybe I was too slow to ask you how surprising it will be what they have prepared for.
Well, I'm truly gutted. We're not going to see a 4 knights. We're not going to see a quick draw. Damn. No,
what
it's
a
good
pity,
news.
isn't it?
It's good news here. I think no more Petrov, no more 4 knights. They're here to fight. Javokir, he, of course, serves with both hands. He plays e4, d4. He plays everything. But it's nice to see them try to battle on new territory. Judith, it could be a Rogozin. It could be a Queen's Gambit declined. It could be any opening from here.
Yes, absolutely. I'm curious what Wei is up to now and how surprised is he. But when we go to shorter time control, for the players you need a lot of flexibility and to understand that they are prepared, but I think they have to be much more prepared from mental perspective, because in a classical game they can think about it, okay, what my opponent wants, why did he choose this, what he wants to pull me into, what kind of novelty he might have prepared. In a rapid game, shorter time control, it's intuition comes much more in the focus, and most importantly, they have to be extremely focused in the game, because it cannot be a perfect game. There will be mistakes, inaccuracies, and you have to be very, very much focused on that to grab your opportunity. So we have the Rogozin, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the Rogozin, and it's one of the very solid variations with white immediately playing a quick bishop g5 and taking the knight off the board. So it feels like a question about whether black can play c5 very quickly, maybe after taking on c4 first in some lines, or whether black plays like c6, knight d7, and plays for e5 eventually. He actually goes for the second option. But yeah, I was expecting maybe more ambitious from Sindarov. But yeah, this is very, very solid for both sides, it looks like.
But I had a feeling yesterday when I was watching his face and body language and the game was not long, I must say, and not so exciting either. At the same time, I had the feeling that Sindarov finally at this stage of the tournament, where in some ways it's finished for him because he qualified for the candidates. That was the dream. He got nervous. He got nervous in this moment that wow, I'm done already what I came for, and now I have to play again, and actually it would be so good to win. But where do I get this energy from? Where do I get this preparation? How can I play the way that I really beat Wei? Because Wei showed his resilience and toughness and calmness, I must say. I mean, he has such a nerves. You can see him. I mean, look at him. He's just sitting very quietly, thinking about the position, maybe thinking about something else. I don't know. But somehow you see this calmness when you look at him. And for sure you can't be so calm as it shows. But for him, it's okay to go down to 1 second, right? And make quietly the move, and then go down again to 1 second, and then quietly making the move again. Which I've barely seen anyone being playing like that in such a calm way. But I like White's position. Little initiative. How
This
will Brad...
A4 seems to be a novelty. I think we were still following some games, not that many games, like a handful of games until c6, and then a4. I don't see any game featuring a4. If there was a pawn push on the queen side, it would have been b4 in 3 games, but not a4. I guess it could still transpose if white just starts pushing all the queen side pawns.
And Wei Yi in return gets ready to break out with e5. Probably he'll want to take on c4 first, but he's ready to strike out. And normally white can meet that by either ignoring it, and there we go, he keeps gaining space, or by even putting a knight onto e5 in some variations, but that's maybe a bit more risky, changing the pawn structure. This is interesting, Judith. He looks like he's ready for something to happen in the center, but he just doesn't want to move his bishop so he can take back on c4 with one move. He thinks this is the most useful way to wait.
Yes, a4, a5 is an interesting idea, gaining space, and especially now maybe it can be an important element that the knight cannot go to b6. So for example, if black captures on c4, bishop c4, knight b6 sometimes could be an idea, or even to play e5, and if white goes, let's say, d5, then quickly somehow knight b6 shows up. But as white has the pawn on a5, well, maybe d5 is not so good because of e4 or something like that. But generally, knight on b6, when the bishop on c4, it can be in some occasions a problem. Or asking questions there, but it's kind of unusual. I mean, this is what I'm kind of expecting from black still. But he went e5 immediately.
Wow. Okay, does this mean an isolated pawn potentially, or does he have some tactics to prevent that from happening? I'm not sure which one white should be taking. It feels very early e5 for black.
Well, it feels c-pawn should be taking on d5, right?
Yeah. And black doesn't have time to play e4 because white will take on c6 probably.
Unless he wants to sacrifice the pawn.
Yeah, this is quite tempting
Takes
suddenly.
and bishop d7. It's very, very kind of sacrificing this.
Yeah, and the eval bar loves it for black. Pawn down, but big attack. Wow. Okay, so if c takes d5 might be met by e4, and then black will take back on d5. Still unclear, actually. Maybe white's knight moves, bishop b5, or knight e5 even, maybe. Maybe knight e5.
But maybe after knight e5...
maybe just take back.
Yeah, and then bishop b5. You can go knight e5 because there's knight d3 check.
Yeah, bishop takes would be a blunder because of knight check. And if takes, then black's rook.
And how important that the pawn is on h6 already, right? Otherwise, queen c8 would be a back rank mate. Small details.
Small but very important details, yes. What a beautiful pattern, this whole idea with e5. And I agree, it's very much in the style of Wei Yi to play like this, very concrete, very sharp, going for it. And it's also really instructive because I think we all teach this, that if your opponent is playing on the flanks, especially with the king in the middle of the board, you got to open up the center as soon as possible, even if it costs a pawn in some of these lines with e5. But it's really how black can strike and should strike and not give a free hand for white to just expand and take it slow.
Yeah, and the first think of the game from Sindarov, like, I would think if he's preparing a4 and a5 as his big idea, his big novelty, he should probably be looking at e5. It's just slightly surprising to see him slow down for 2.5 minutes, but okay, maybe he's run out of prep and he's just deciding which way to take. Judith mentioned this pawn capture because the other one looks like it just results in all the exchanges and very equal position. Black will take back with the queen. Just looks totally fine for black.
At the same time, maybe that's what we're going to see, is everything swapping off on e5, takes, knight e5, knight e5, probably queen will be taking on e5. C takes d5. Yeah, maybe take. I don't know, I was wondering if, I cannot go bishop c4 because of queen g2. And we can't cast so long. So maybe queen takes e5, rook e5, c takes d5, and rook d5, b4. Can white play for something here? Claiming that he has a space advantage. Bishop c4, king e2, rook d1. Pressing a little bit at least.
Maybe black just...
Or there is just simply nothing. Bishop c4, bishop e6
Somewhere.
you want? Or bishop f5?
I wanted e6, but then maybe you take the d file, so I don't... Maybe.
Well, maybe that's not so easy to take the d file, because the b4 pawn can be vulnerable.
True. Like d file, yeah. This will be a draw. If he takes on e5, I predict a draw. If he takes on d5, maybe we get a proper game. Maybe
well, it's a question. What is that? CD e4, knight d2.
Yeah. Takes and bishop
b5,
maybe?
let's say.
Yeah. Coming in. It looks like a good French defense, Anna. For white.
It does. It does look like a great French defense. There's no bad bishop there sitting on c1, blocked by my own pawns, as in my French defense it would be. So I would be happy to take this from white's perspective. We see a capture on e5, not on d5. And only after d takes, now Javokir plays c takes d5.
Wow.
Okay. This makes sense.
Yeah. I didn't think of this. That's clever. Like knight takes knight, pawn takes, queen takes. He wants to play rook g1 and threaten a sneaky checkmate.
Not a bad idea.
Yeah.
The king is still in the middle of the board for white, but it is the black king that's being targeted.
And the white bishop might come to c4, some more tactics if black plays g6.
Well,
Okay,
there are a
but-
lot of options, right? c6 also going to be taken.
Yeah. I think black reluctantly takes on d5. Maybe that's fine as well, but probably... Okay, he does take.
So
take this pawn.
Javokir's move order has created an isolated pawn in black's position, and now he's going for the trades on e5, which would mean an endgame where black's pawn structure is somewhat more damaged with this isolated pawn on d5. At the same time, it looks like black is ready to push d4 and get rid of it in the middle of the board after the trade, isn't it?
Well, and the a5 pawn can be vulnerable, because maybe white is just missing one tempo. If queen takes on e5, takes, and wants to go king d2, going out of d4 from the pin, still black can play d4, and the a5 pawn is going to fall off. While if white would have time for king d2, b4, that could be a different story, I think.
Yeah.
I mean, rook e4 still, but if I have time to develop, right? I mean, that would be magical for white. Bishop d3, king c3, king d4.
I think we're about to see the same idea indeed that Judith has mentioned. And if only white could make one more move, but without that extra tempo where he's just in time to push d4, get rid of the isolated pawn and trade it for white's a5 pawn, I think he will play it. If not, then it's going to be an uncomfortable endgame to defend.
And maybe this was Wei's idea, like even if c takes d5 earlier had happened, maybe he would have taken back on d5 anyway and allowed all of this to happen. Although, yeah, maybe that would have given Sindarov more choices. But d4 is an automatic. He's just trying to work out what happens when the white rook gets to c7 and how to untangle from there. But this should be very holdable now for black.
Yeah, because black will most likely give up the pawn on the 7th rank, and the development will be giving all the compensation for the pawn, right? Takes, rook a5, rook c7, bishop e6. This is what you had in mind, right?
Yeah.
Rook b7, rook d8, and white is not developed.
Yeah, if anything, white has to be a bit careful. Maybe also rook a1.
Ooh. That can be nasty.
So unpleasant.
G3,
yeah,
bishop d5.
G3, yeah. G3 would be the normal solution to this, but now with the skewer, it's not possible. things could turn around very quickly if Sindarov is not playing there accurately after d4 and rook takes a5. But of course, I think he'll be solid and just develop.
Mm-hmm. Probably he'll just play bishop c4 instead of rook c7 then. And yeah, that's no advantage at all.
Interesting that way he's thinking so long, but he ends up pushing d4 after 2 minutes of thinking. I guess maybe it's not that long. I was just curious if he was considering any other moves or just maybe getting deeper into this position after the trade of the pawns.
Yeah, he's pausing even now. Maybe he wants to flick in rook d5. But no, keep it simple. Takes on a5. It's interesting. Maybe white should have found a different waiting move earlier instead of a5, just h3 or something, because then the a5 pawn wouldn't be hanging in some of these lines. But,
well, at the same time, then why do you play a4? He had a very straightforward idea by playing a4, a5, right? But Wei was reacting in a very sensible, very logical way. Not a very original plan, because this is the main plan for black, right? Rook e5 and breaking in the center.
Yeah. So two most natural moves would be bishop c4 or rook c7. But rook c7 maybe runs into rook a1 ideas. Bishop c4, probably black just develops. I don't know, bishop d7 or bishop f5, and then king f8, rook c8, rook d8.
To tell you the truth, I can even visualize that white can get in trouble. I mean, black can have a fantastic position. Let's say black has the time to develop with the bishop, bring the king to d6, yeah? That is a very neat spot. And that would give black a fantastic position. Well, it's not so easy to get to d6, you want to say. But still, I can go there because of rook f8.
Okay, yeah. Oh, yeah, rook f8 actually in the other variation as well. Rook h1 check, king here. Bishop takes pawn. This very nice. Yeah, and your point, Judah, is that this king is dominant now.
Yeah, if black can make good piece placement, it can be quite annoying to play with white.
David, I think as our viewers pointing out, we need to see a masterclass by you since you have written a book about how to grind endgames like this. What would be some of your main tips? I know we cannot, we don't have enough time for the entire book, but if you were to give just a few of the tips from the book, what would you highlight?
Yeah, well, on page 196. No, I'm joking. In the book, we talk a lot about kind of long-term features, and Judith's right. Like, I think long-term, black is definitely the one who should be quite optimistic outside past pawn potential. You've got the B and A pawns connected. White has two isolated pawns, so it doesn't look like much. But for black, I would trying to make those small improvements while preventing the opponent's plans. Like, if rook c7 doesn't cause any trouble, then you can slowly improve, move the bishop, improve the king, get the rook out. With white, long-term, it's hard to talk about any advantages, so I would probably be trying to be quite dynamic right now, to be very active. Immediate bishop c4, immediate rook e1, cut the black king from moving in. Rook c5 is very ambitious as well. Yeah, it's hard. It's one of those positions, it could become a grind, but it could also just fizzle out very, very quickly. I don't think Wei will want to take the rooks, for example, here, because white's pawn becomes a bit better. He'll allow a pawn to come to b4, king on c3. Probably still fine for black, but more likely he's looking at moves like rook to a1 right now.
But after rook a1, I think g3 can be powerful, and bishop g2.
Just anyway. Let's put that on the board. Rook a1 with a pin. g3.
Though maybe you just go rook b1. Quite an unpleasant move. But you have king c2, no bishop f5, because you're rook on c5. That's a smart one.
Oh, that's smart. But now rook e1, and you can't
rook
play bishop
e1.
g2 because of rook here. And rook e5, no.
Yeah, I also thought about that, but that's not the same. Then pawn on c5, right? Rook e5, black just takes it, bishop f5 check, and brings the rook.
Well, dear, white's going to be worse. Bishop e4 as well, maybe.
Yeah, it doesn't seem to be really funny for white.
So predictions: do we think the game will end after rook to a1, g3, rook b1, king c2, rook e1, king d2, and a dance? Is this a logical end to the game?
It could be, but I'm not sure that in Rapid we're going to see this. I think in Classical it was more likely. What do you think, Judith, in terms of the strategy of the two players for these Rapid games, and does the color matter at all?
Color, well, a little bit, yes. I mean, generally speaking, they still think that with white they have the upper hand a bit. But I can easily imagine that there will be a repetition like that because the tension is very high. And if white doesn't have anything more for black, I mean, it's not a bad result out of the opening, especially. It was very clear that for black, it's not the game where he's going to be pushing it too hard or where he's going to have such a big opportunities to complicate the game. So if white is not pushing it really, then it's not so easy for black to play on. And the day can be still long because we have playoff continuation. If the first two games in this rapid kind of time control moves on, then we're going to be seeing shorter and shorter mini matches of two games, and it can go all the way up to 9 games until the Armageddon. So they may need a lot of energy for today, and it's clear that I mean, they both know they have to spend all their energy left in this month to put it here, invest it here, because this is about the victory of the World Cup. And of course, if the one who is going to be losing, it will have a bitter feeling because the happiness already to qualification on the candidates on short term, they had it already. At the same time, here they want to win. And so it's not so easy to play for a win, to play it out, but to be careful at the same time, to keep everything under control. I'm kind of a little bit surprised that that way took on c5. What do you think, David? Would you take on c5 or you wanted to go rook a1?
I think I would only play rook takes c5 as a last resort if I saw nothing else. But rook a1 looks so clean. I think rook exchanges, we were talking about grinding and like what to think about. Rook exchanges, if the white pawn was still back on d4, this would have been great. You could even exchange all rooks as black and you're probably better just because the black king will be so good on d6. But yeah, helping the white pawn to c5. Probably he's got something concrete in mind, like a very quick rook c8 and b6 or something along those lines. Or maybe he just wants to play like a bishop to d5, park it on c6, put a pawn on a6, and hope that white can never break through. But even that, I'm not 100% sure about. Yeah, I'm surprised. Like it's definitely fine. The eval bar tells us that, but probably black is on the more urgent side now. Needs to do something quickly before white's rook gets in. b4, king c3.
Well, probably it's not that bad. I mean, bishop d5, I like very much what you said. And let's say after f3, black maybe can go b6 immediately.
Yeah, true.
Or rook c8 after that, and after b4, b6. I mean, if black, if white must play c takes b6, then there is no danger at all.
Yeah, I think he's seen something that's very forcing, and whether he flicks in bishop d5 first or immediately rook c8. Or... yeah, he just wants to... yeah, I think b6, you're probably right. Probably sooner rather than later. Yeah, rook a1 otherwise might be a bit annoying, so black should probably get out of there first. Maybe he's looking at rook d8 as well, just to ask the king which way it's going, but probably king c3 helps white.
Slightly concerning the time management, I was just going to say, because Wei is going really low on time. It's now 4 minutes and 14 seconds left for him in a rapid game where there's only 10-second increment. It is true that the position is very simplified, and he does go for the bishop d5 idea that you both have been analyzing. The next move, maybe a rook c8 or b6, or the combination of those two moves.
Exactly that. Rook c8. b4, rook c1, probably the same thing. b6 anyway. Breaking down the head of white's pawn chain. And what happens if white just leaves the pawn on c5? So like if b4, rook c1, does black ever take that pawn?
Yeah, that's the only question, but it cannot be really too difficult for black, I think. Though white has a plan, right? So if rook c1, let's say, b6, b4, b takes c5.
Just putting this on the
b
board.
takes c5, right?
Yes.
Takes, and then white wants to go king e3, king d4, possibly exchange the bishop by playing bishop e4.
I'd be slightly nervous. Slightly.
Yeah, and that doesn't look like the endgame you want to be defending with only a few minutes left on the clock. I think he wanted something more concrete. And is there anything more concrete? I have b6, rook c1.
But sorry, a5 is possible now.
a5 now. Yeah.
Oh,
maybe.
that could be his idea. It has to be a lot more concrete than what we looked at, I believe. I don't think he wants to be in for the long defend passively kind of situations.
But
King
after
C3?
a5, maybe king c3, yes? King c3 anyway. Okay, a5, king c3, takes on b4, takes, and it can be a little bit annoying, right?
Yeah, I mean, if the king gets to b6 in some variations, I would be very scared.
Oh, yeah. King b6, bishop b5, rook comes. It can be unpleasant.
And I think what he
It
might
could
have
be now
missed
time for black to get to the a file after the trade on b4, play rook a8 to get also some counterplay.
Oh, that's a good move. That's a very good move. Yeah, I was going to say maybe after a5, king c3, he thought he could play b6, for example, but then white plays king d4 and king of the hill, like break the pin, gain a tempo, take on b6. Looks winning for white suddenly, so got to be slightly careful. I think he's just weighing up which one of these is the more accurate, which one is safer. But the clock situation is starting to worry me. If it ends up being like 1 minute versus 5 and black is still slightly on the back foot because of white's active king, then I don't know, I could see this maybe turning in white's favor.
Well, in the last 3-4 moves, since rook takes c5 happened, it did not go on the way on to benefit black.
Yeah.
a5
He
on
does
the board.
play a5, which seems to be the most accurate, the most forcing way to get out of this passive situation on the queen side and get some counterplay as well.
Yeah. King c3 is the only real winning attempt, I think. Like, if he wants to win Sindarov, he plays king c3.
But I don't see anything against king c3. He's just checking what happens on b6, I believe.
Yeah, he's got loads of time. b6, that would be this king d4 move, and he's just calculating that. But
but actually that's tactical. Because after king d4,
rook d8.
Rook d8, c takes b6, bishop f3, but that there will be too many pawns on the queen side, I think.
Yeah.
C takes b6, bishop f3, king e3 back, bishop g2, rook g1, and then grabbing the a5, and then life is difficult for black.
Yeah, life is very bad for black. Do you get the impression, I'll start with you, Anna, like that Wei Yi is just trying to release the tension every time? Like 2 days ago in the classical when he had black, he had a very strong move where he could have had pressure, probably decent winning chances, and could have sat on that position for a few hours, tried to win against Sindarov. Instead, he kind of bailed out and went to a simpler position, and it was a draw very quickly. And then yesterday didn't even want a game. It seems to me like maybe he just wants everything as simple as possible.
It feels like it, yes. And now Sindarov too says the same with his move. He doesn't go for king to c3. He captures the pawn on a5, allowing rook takes c5. I think you're right, David, that what we have seen by Wei Yi oftentimes was very concrete, very forcing lines to release the tension. And so far it has worked out very well for him. He's the only unbeaten player. He has gone 27 games without losing a single game. And Sindarov has played 23 games and only lost once against the Jospam Jose Martinez. So these are clearly two of the best performing players in the World Cup. And that's why they are the ones playing the finals. But yeah, it feels like rook takes c5, rook c1. Will we see that bishop endgame, David, that you're highlighting?
Yeah, I think that's the plan.
Ah.
And now White's king will get to d4, Black's king will get to d6. But Black has a pawn on b7 on a light square. White's king is slightly more active. This is a little bit scary. Probably still a draw, but... Ooh.
But why is it so scary? I don't understand. I mean, is there any way that White can exchange the bishop with the benefit of having a winning position?
Yeah, maybe not. Black's just going to have to wait with bishop c6, bishop d5, bishop c6, bishop d5, but maybe that's enough.
Well, my question is, should he go g5? Or is just the double question mark?
Which pawns? h5, I think, would be double question mark. But after h4, maybe. But don't want to put pawns on light squares, but g5 makes a lot of sense. So you're wondering
f6.
about, like, yeah, f6 is safer. Bishop e4, bishop c4, those types of endgames.
That's what he played, f6.
Only 2 minutes left for Wei Yi, but this is a very simplified endgame where the defense is quite clear-cut. And I guess in terms of the opening and what we have seen, Judith, how would you see this game as a start? If this is a draw, which is likely to be, there will be a second game, a second rapid game at the least. But who is happier with what we are seeing in this very first game of the tiebreaks?
Well, we can say none of the players are really happy, and we can say both of them are very happy, because it's kind of a warm-up game for me. It was a very solid opening, trying to figure out how Wei wanted to react on against this d4 system. And after the break in descent, there was a small new idea, which Sindarov came up with, a4, a5. Wei reacted very cleverly, very straightforward, very typical in this position, breaking up the center. Everything got exchanged, simplified. And when there were questions like to exchange on c5 or go rook a1, Wei always went to the simplification direction, not to complicate matters. And I think king c3 was a better chance for White to keep the rooks on. And this is why I'm saying that it seems like trying to figure out in what form the other one is, because also Sindarov, who is a sharp player, he was going on a very solid direction by exchanging the rooks.
And now he's pushing h4, so he's still trying to make it somewhat harder for Wei Yi to defend. He's expanding on the king side.
Because there is an idea, I was just thinking about it while I was replying to you, that if I can have my pawn on h5 and then exchange the bishops on e4, that can be tricky, because once, let's say just show it, bishop d5, bishop e4, takes, and king c5 will be slow, I believe. No, I wanted to take with the king. Maybe this is much better, I don't know. King e4 was my plan. And then so king c5 is not possible because I'm running king f5, king g6, king g7.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm sorry to interrupt, but we need to go back to the game, because Wei Yi says, I don't want to allow you to push h5, but that seems to be a mistake. And now bishop e4, that king and pawn game seems to be a decisive advantage for White.
Wow. So he cannot take on g5, probably because Black takes with the f pawn, and it just becomes harder to create a pass pawn for White. Bishop e4, that's a lot of calculation. But he's got 5 minutes. We have to try and work this out. Bishop e4, should we put it on the board? Winning
Definitely.
move,
Let's see why suddenly this bishop e4 move is winning and it wasn't winning with the pawn on g7 earlier. If bishop takes, king takes.
h5 on king e6, no?
King e6. h5.
Ooh.
Black has to either give way or play f5, which is what you want. King moves, king back.
King
and now
d6,
white
g3.
white will play g3.
And
it's Zugzwang.
Zugzwang, Black has no useful moves other than pushing one of the pawns on the king's side, but that will be the final move he can make without getting the king out of opposition. He's gonna be the one that has to concede the entry square for the white king.
Oh my gosh.
So instructive, and it's all because of g5 not wanting to allow white to push h5, but it has run into a bigger problem with the weaknesses on the king side now as well, the f5 square.
What happens if white pushes h5? Is it still winning?
h5 is not winning anymore.
Because bishop f7, g4, bishop d5, and you will not have enough pawn moves left.
Yeah, now it's very different after king e6. White runs out of moves. f4. Probably just take king e7.
And king e7.
Yeah. And black gets the opposition. White has to give way, and black's king follows. Wow. Big moment.
So instructive. Will Sindarov play it? He's about to reach for the pawn. He's not going to play bishop e4. The only way to get decisive advantage is to offer the bishop trade. He was about to push the h-pawn.
He's got enough time, 3 minutes. Like, always start by calculating the concrete moves first. It's a very forcing line, but it's not easy because h5 is tempting, as Judith said. Wow. Neither side seems to want to kind of calculate too much. A lot of breaking of the tension. Wei Yi plays g5 just because he wants to release things. But key moment. What do we think? Is he going to do a Sindarov thing and just reach for a pawn but then change his mind, move another piece instead? Or is he going to find...
I thought he was ready for bishop e4, you know?
Mm-hmm.
I thought so too. I felt like it, but he's looking so much in the direction of those pawns, and he's about to touch it again. The h-pawn. Pawn to h5. Missed chance by Sindarov.
Wow. That's the move you play on autopilot if you don't have enough time to think, really. But he did have a lot of time on the clock at the start of that move. And we see the the game graph with that one spike now for white. Still some chances.
The one single moment he was given to grab the initiative and the decisive advantage it would have been after the bishop trade. Now black goes back to f7 to target the pawn.
Maybe bishop e4? No. g4. And now bishop d5 is fine. Stopping white from taking the long diagonal. Wow, such small margins.
Very small margin. The same king and pawn endgame would now be a draw because black is in time to get the opposition, and it is white who will have to get a move in. No Zugzwang anymore.
But black goes to passive play by playing bishop e6, bishop e4. What's the plan? Bishop c8? No, king c7, king c5, and there is no breakthrough?
Wow. He's just going to wait with his bishop.
Seems like he just wants to move the bishop, yes. Waiting moves with the bishop, and the only target is the b7 pawn, but he's guarding it with his king. The king is not allowing the white king to get in, and the bishop is guarding the d5 square too. What a different situation it would have been in the king and pawn endgame, but now everything is logged up and there is no breakthrough for white.
With the bishops off the board, it would be a different story, but black's bishop, wow, going ultra passive. Oh, taking it back. Wei Yi. They are getting nervous now. Bishop to d7.
Yes, because after bishop c8, bishop f5 was a question.
Yeah. Don't want to think about that.
Which I think was still a draw because black can hold the king.
Mm-hmm. Okay, now he goes bishop back. And bishop f5 move, I guess he will take and just...
And king d7.
Yeah. Wow. He's really doing the absolute minimum here, where he's going passive, retreating all his pieces, but he's saying, I've got a fortress. I've got a draw. Maybe he's right. Bishop back to d7 now. Only move, but obvious one.
The position is so passive for black that all he can do is move the bishop back and forth, but it's enough because there is no way white can make progress.
Bishop c8. There's
Bishop
no way for
b5.
white to move. Yeah, and bishop back to d7 feels scary, but probably the only move. He's got 2 squares for his bishop, and it's enough. This is crazy. Oh, so close for Sindarov.
Yeah.
I don't see a winning plan. I don't see anything here for white. Bishop b5, bishop d7.
Yeah, it will be easy to play for black. Bishop c7, bishop d7 moves. Close to the clock.
That helps. And it's just 10-second increment. White has to give way or agree to a drawn king and pawn endgame this time. If only the white pawn was still on g2.
And he would have extra moves to win the opposition indeed, but he pushed in that moment. g5, that was the only moment in the game. Everything else, it has been balanced, everything solid, but in that one moment where he gave Sindarov a winning chance, and neither of them noticed how bad that king and pawn endgame would have been.
Yeah, that's the one thing I don't understand about accuracy. It popped up there, 95% accuracy for Wei Yi, but he made a game-losing blunder. Like, how can a game be that accurate? It's, yeah.
But it's just one move, David.
One move, but a really, really bad
one. By the way, one move, but he would have lost the game.
Yeah. He's made a lot of easy moves, but yeah, one losing mistake.
But David, how do you realize it that your opponent made a losing move?
Yeah, it's
right.
tough with no time on the clock.
We had it because the bar was jumping. But let's say if the bar was not jumping for us, then Anna is not necessarily shouting that let's go, because there is action going on, right?
Yeah.
Because at first,
True.
I didn't understand why she's so enthusiastic. I mean, G5, big deal, you know?
You're right that the bar helps so much and the players don't have access to that. The bishops are traded off and now the black king takes the opposition in the right moment. King e4 threatening to get in through the f5 square. You don't even have to play king e6 if you are ready to mate king f5 with king to f7. So there's several ways in which black can get the draw, whether king e6 or simply king e7, king e8 even.
Distant opposition. King e8. But no, he takes
goes
the new
for
one.
the most natural king e6.
Yeah, we've actually mentioned this position before, but via a different move order. Now black has to take the pawn instead of giving way, then has to drop back.
King e7 also draws, no? No.
But
no,
then,
no. F takes g5 and king e5.
Yeah.
Sorry.
And then white gets the opposition. And Judith, your question earlier, like how to sense it, I think that's where it's just pure calculation, right? Because intuition doesn't tell you, oh, my opponent's blundered. Like, or maybe.
But I'm sorry,
like,
when you play this time control, how can you calculate with calmness?
With calmness.
And what do you start with? What do you start with? H takes g5, h5, bishop e4. And it's only a matter of luck, I think, which one you start calculating first.
But we're always told start with the most forcing one. Bishop e4 is the most forcing.
Bishop e4.
But yeah, I mean, it's difficult. It's easy to say. But yeah, and he had 7 minutes when that position was played, when g5 was played. So he had time, maybe.
But how do you force yourself that you have to stay calm and really calculate? Don't think about anything. Don't try to push your intuition forward, right? Because this is what we have, g5. Okay, what has changed? And we have a draw.
So the first game of the tiebreaks ends in a draw. Missed chance for Sindarov, but was a one-move chance where he could have taken a decisive advantage with a king and pawn endgame after bishop to e4 had he found that move. We will see the players return. Colors reverse, where you will have the white pieces in the next rapid game. We're gonna take a short break, but when we are back, it could be the final decisive game of the World Cup. Who will win the trophy? Will it be Wei Yi? Will it be Sindarov? It's such a close match. We'll be right back after this break.
You're a grandmaster and I'm a retired IM. So I'm gonna actually use this board to have the advantage. If I'm touching a piece, it's gonna show me whether it's a good move, a bad move, or a decent move.
Okay.
What if I touch this? Oh, taking is not a good idea. So what's a good idea?
It's ridiculous.
That's it.
This is ridiculous.
I know it.
A lot of people fall for that.
I know you want to flag me, but I'm just like, I'm gonna go sometimes with my intuition, sometimes with the magic of this board.
I think we need to try to bring the pieces back.
No way, Aman! Take that!
There's just no way this works.
I calculated it till the end.
I mean, I have to, out of respect for the move.
I got it. It's not a good move to take it. Is it queen h6? It's queen h6 first. Of course I knew it.
What? I don't know how I stop this. I got nothing here. I can't even move. Anna.
Thank you, Aman.
Good game.
What do you mean, good game?
Good game.
It's the best game of my life.
You are actually now 1-0 against me lifetime.
Yes. Does that make me a grandmaster?
Levon, have you ever lied about opening preparation in post-game interviews or such?
It would be more appropriate to ask if I ever say the truth. Yeah, I lied many times.
True. This is just, I don't have any plan.
Levon's a genius when playing lie detector chess.
No, Levon is not a genius. I'm an idiot.
True.
Do you think chess players should get more attention compared to the streamers?
Yes.
True. I agree. Did some of your fashion choices in terms of shirts come with cruel intentions of like disturbing opponents, or is this just a choice for yourself?
Sometimes.
Sometimes.
True.
Wow.
I didn't think that was true, but what do I know?
We all have our skeletons.
Do you think you've achieved as much as you could in chess?
No.
Are you satisfied with your career overall?
Yes.
So the answer to the first question was true, and the second was also true.
Yeah, but I assumed so.
Levon is like the most, I mean, I've been like looking over this guy's shoulder. This is like the most stable. He's like just dialed in on a truth train right now.
Yeah.
You're on a truth train.
This is amazing.
Well, a few small lies, huh?
A few small lies, but like this is like the most stable I've seen of anyone.
Yeah.
Levon, do you think you should have become world champion?
Yes.
Yes, true.
The fastest, easiest way to improve your chess is now the most fun way to improve your chess. Chess.com's brand new puzzles now have loads of exciting features to make solving a joy. Earn points and race your friends across puzzle tiers from wood to bronze, all the way to legend. Rack up bonuses for streaks, for speed, for accuracy, for daily solving, difficulty, and more. And now, you can get feedback from Coach while solving puzzles. Coach lets you know what each puzzle's goal is and why a move doesn't actually work. And, as always, puzzles will be selected just for your level from our database of hundreds of thousands of high-quality, beautiful, brilliant, and instructive puzzles. So what are you waiting for? Try puzzles today on web, Android, or iOS, and have a blast leveling up your chess.
Welcome back to our broadcast. This is the final showdown at the World Cup for the first place. We only have one match remaining, but the prize is quite significant between first and second place, a $35,000 difference, $2 million, the overall prize fund for the World Cup. And we do have the final two-man standing, or sitting in this case, Wei Yi with the white pieces against Javokir Sindarov. Will it be the Chinese Grandmaster to win the World Cup? First Chinese Grandmaster to do so? Or will it be Javokir Sindarov at the age of 19 becoming the youngest champion of a World Cup in history? David, Judith, this could be our final game to cover, 15 minutes plus 10-second increment. What do we expect in terms of the opening? David, I'm going to start with you.
Ooh, I think maybe some kind of Spanish. I don't think we'll see the four knights unless Wei Yi is really, really banking on getting down to the blitz, the Armageddon. I think we'll see e4 just because he can predict Sindarov. But yeah, maybe the Italian or the Spanish. Those would be my two picks. Judith, how about yourself?
What do you think? Do you agree with David?
I don't know. I would like to see some Spanish. That would be more interesting for me. What Sindarov is up to. But now I was also wondering about what can go through in Wei's mind. Like, does he think that the draw will and the match proceeds in the shorter time control? Is it just making the other one more tired and exhaust the other one? That can also be maybe a strategy. Or he wants to go and give all in. Because in the first game, we've seen Sindarov playing for a win, but very carefully, right? So this is my big question, whether will we bring out and show the weapons and try to decide this game, or again it's going to be extremely careful and okay, we are not making risks, but if you make a big mistake, I'm kind of ready. But in the first game, as we've seen, Sindarov was not ready when we made the mistake, because it's so hard to sense the moment, right? This is what we are talking about for chess players, that when there are so many talks about the online cheating and stuff like that, the problem is in chess that only if someone would have kicked Sindarov's leg, that, come on, you have the moment, he would find bishop e4 and win, right? But he doesn't have anything, any help. Nobody's knocking his shoulder or kicking under the table or anything, giving any sign for him. And then he cannot catch the moment. He had it there, bishop e4. It was not the end of the world. It was not so difficult. But when they play so carefully, like, really, how do you realize that this is my moment? This is when I have to calculate. This is when I have to spend all my time, because it's the crucial move of the match, possibly. So we see a solid game, of course.
David, let's do a quick action replay, because what Judith said is really important, that yes, Sindarov had that one moment in the previous game where he could have gotten a decisive advantage, but it was a one single moment, and we knew of it because of the evaluation bar. He didn't have that information, and no one kicked him under the table. Sadly for Sindarov, that meant a draw in the previous game, and Wei Yi with the white pieces. David, what we see is one of your predictions, right? The Italian.
Yeah, and Wei's been playing this for over 10 years, the Italian, as one of his main weapons. Very quickly from the start, we did see e4, e5, bishop coming out, knight f6, and Wei never really goes for the direct lines with knight g5 or d4. He always plays the slower systems. Bishop e7 is a choice for someone who wants to maybe narrow the opponent's options. Bishop e7 played a lot these days by Dubov, by Magnus, and after a4. So rather than the older lines with rook e1, h3, instead of putting the knight on c3, he allows this bishop g4 move. Normally you want a knight on d2 as well, just to be able to recapture on f3 with a knight. But here the white queen is forced to come out. Black says, okay, I'll hit the queen, force her back. And after c6, bishop to a2. I think d5 isn't actually one of the best moves here because white gets a very quick f4. So that's quite a well-known trap here. So after knight to e6, trying to control the dark squares, rook e1, and it looks like they're both still in prep, especially Sindarov. Although white has the bishop pair and Judith, I think Wei should be quite happy here.
Absolutely, I agree with you. Bishop pair, stopping the d5 option for the moment. It looks something from this opening, it's a big thing, right? I mean, nowadays it seems a big thing. And also that it's kind of pretty easy to play. So you can, I mean, yeah. Very nice
I wonder
position
how
for
much
white.
the opening is influencing our audience, with the chat poll showing quite a significant lead for Wei Yi. Last time we asked our audience who is going to win the World Cup, it was very close to 50-50. Judith and David were influencing the viewers constantly. And now we see 62% for Wei Yi, 38% for Sindarov in the tiebreaks. What do we think, by the way? We haven't done our prediction time on air, at least. We did talk about it off camera. Judith, David, who is going to win the World Cup?
Oh, I was saying Wei Yi was one of the favorites to get to the candidates, maybe not win the World Cup, but I thought maybe even before the quarterfinals. So I'll still say Wei Yi, but I'm tempted to say Sindarov just to try and influence the influence our chatters.
And
no,
you did with 1% already. It went up 1%. Judith, can you influence the audience even more in the direction, or do you think it's Wei Yi?
Well, actually, I was thinking to put my bet on Sindarov before the match. And I would say even before the opening of this game, but I don't like his opening very much. And also, I am a little skeptical on his body language, the way he's looking at the board. If this game will be a draw, let's get back to this question again.
We will revisit. But yes, I think
What about
you're
you,
right,
Anna?
that the opening is not looking very promising. It's not the end of the world, but it's better for white, and white will definitely push Wei Yi here with the pair of bishops. I think before the games, I would have said Wei Yi as well. I feel like he is very experienced, and he has been in the top 10 of the world's elite for so long. He has had his chances, and this could be his biggest career highlight, his biggest win. While for Sindarov, I feel like what you both highlighted, that yes, he qualified to the candidates already, and that was the big prize for him. That was the big objective. He looks more relaxed since, but also somewhat less ambitious, if we can say that. I think he's still trying, but it's not the same flame.
At the same time, I believe in this position, you need a lot of patience for white also to be able to increase the pressure. And maybe if they would be or will be playing very tactical way, that is maybe not so much the straightforward. And okay, visually it seems to be a very beautiful position for white, because the a2 bishop is like a blade there. And I mean, obviously all of us would pick white if we can choose. At the same time, it's not so easy to break up, and black can go queen d7 or queen b7, I think. Also d5, sometimes it is an option to play for black. It is something black wants to do in the near future. So white has to be playing against d5, but I'm not sure everything, if white can stop that. because that's a very important question, whether if black can go d5. Also, if one day the knight can come back to d4, that can be also important. But I think d5 is much more important, not to break the center, but much more for blocking the a2 bishop. Also, bishop from e7 can show up on b4. Not so easy.
And Sindarov seems to be very comfortable with the opening, also from the time management perspective. He has gained a minute, not spending time, but gaining time. While Wei Yi is, again, the player going lower on time. It's already 4.5 minutes of difference in their time. And that's a good sign for Sindarov, that he's comfortable with this position, even if it's slightly worse for black. But it's safe, it's solid. I agree with what you both have analyzed earlier and what you have mentioned about this is a solid, patience required kind of position. Nothing going on when it comes to like sharp, concrete lines. And Wei Yi has been playing in very concrete ways in the previous game. So who knows? Maybe it could also be Sindarov playing for a win if this becomes very sharp with h4, h5. That's what Wei Yi is doing, pushing the h-pawn.
I was actually thinking about this move h4, also about g4, which might be too much. But my question is why h4 is played. Does he want to go h5, or he wanted to make space for his queen on h3, maybe, to put pressure on e6? I don't know.
Maybe even support bishop g5 sometimes in future. I quite like g4, g5 if white gets another tempo or two, but it just depends whether black's quick enough. Maybe queen d7 will deter white from all of this. I think queen d7 is probably the most natural move here. Just half an eye on g4. Also, maybe queen on h3 will be less effective then. But also, as Judith said earlier, d5. It's one of those weird positions. Maybe the queen on f3 wasn't so great after all, just because it is vulnerable to some attacks. And if you ever want to take on e6, then the f file becomes open. It's just very tense, and I agree that it's definitely Sindarov's match strategy to be quicker on the clock and to put some pressure there. And
he's very fast.
And he does play queen to d7, yes. Going for the d5 idea makes sense when your opponent is expanding on a flank, on the king side here. You want to strike back in the center, ready to push d5.
At the same time, it is against g4 as well, because after g4, knight d4 would be, I think, the move, which would simplify the position and give a hard time for white, because after that the g4 pawn would be taken.
Very important indeed, not allow g4. So multi-purpose move, queen to d7 by Sindarov, and now Wei Yi is thinking again on how to proceed. Will we see him following up h4 with h5? Is he gonna just continue with that idea, or is he planning something else?
Yeah, what else is the question? This knight kind of wants to be on g3, but as soon as it moves away, d5 is going to come. Maybe d5 will just come anyway, so maybe start getting that knight out the way already. No obvious moves for Wei Yi. That's a bit annoying for him.
The computer is very interesting when it comes to like these decisions on, okay, on which flank am I playing? White has just pushed h4, and after queen d7, now the computer is like, no, let's go back to the queen side. What about a5 and push there?
Wow.
Actually, that's an interesting idea, because if black takes on a5, even bishop e6 and rook a5 possible. I don't know.
Yeah.
Suddenly there would be weaknesses on the queen side, and the a7 pawn is a big target.
Yeah, but the h4 is not a beneficial move for white. F takes e6, and then maybe I can jump knight d5, this covered attack.
Ooh.
Or even d5 maybe was painful for white. I don't know. I mean, there are quite a lot of things happening.
Yeah, maybe d5. But what if after a5 black... Well, I don't know whether black can ignore it.
d5?
Yeah. Just to threaten this fork.
Looks very logical, yes. That should be all right for black to strike back in the center. So even a5 is not that big of a deal. It's just interesting how the engine constantly switches its strategy as well on what flank is the one where white should be proceeding. Where he plays queen to h3, it's putting pressure on the e6 knight, and also making sure that there's no issues with the h4 pawn as of now. Interesting idea.
So what's the
D5
plan on
again?
d5?
That's a fork. So he needs to move one of the pieces or maybe take on d5 first. I'm not sure.
Yeah, what about taking on d5?
Yeah.
And
Probably
after cd g5, your move.
That makes sense of everything he's been doing, like queen on h3 and pawn on h4. That's clever.
You said
Trying
it.
to undermine. Yeah. I don't
You
know why I
said
forgot
it,
about
that's
it.
the idea. I'm just copying.
Clever. I said it. No, David just doesn't want to say that he said it. He did say it. Yes.
I'm just listening and paying attention.
I've got a goldfish memory. I forgot that was me. So,
But knight
yeah,
d5. Knight d5.
Yeah, exactly. I'm always reluctant to give up pawn centers. I realize like it's a big weakness of mine. Like e takes d5, I think I would look at it as a last resort, but maybe it's a good way to make sense of the bishops. And the problem is if the white
but
bishop
now we
ever
have to
moves,
think.
knight d4.
Are we going to see this? Is d5 the main move, do you think? Or is there anything else Sindarov might be considering after queen to h3? David, how do you see this?
I think it's the move he wants to play. And it's, as we said earlier with that endgame, like it's quite forcing. Normally, you should start with the forcing moves first. Or at least the direct moves. If he doesn't like d5, maybe he'll look at other ones. I don't know, maybe moving the black knight out the way to say, okay, queen's off the board, maybe. H5 slightly interesting, just to play moves like knight g4, but very committal. I'm not sure he'll want to do that. I think he'll spend a lot of time on d5 and he'll play it if he feels it's fine.
The computer likes, by the way, the idea of preventing all this bishop g5 position. So instead of d5, the engine suggests, let's push h6 first, guard the g5 square, and then black is ready to push d5, and there are no bishop g5 moves coming in.
Wow.
Interesting.
That's a lot of self-restraint. He plays a very calm move. He plays rook e8 instead. Quite logical, although f7 feels a bit more tender now.
But nobody is there to attack it. Queen from f3 left. One a2 bishop will not make a drama for the black king.
True. So how can white make the most of this tempo? Not easy. Rook d1 is, when in doubt, just centralize the rook.
Or time for a5.
Yeah. Ooh, yeah.
Could be time for a5 now with the queen on h3.
But also I have a question. Is it too much to take bishop e6 and a5? We are not there yet with white to be so concrete.
And let's say black takes with the queen, maybe.
Yeah.
Take.
Takes, a5. Simply knight g4, maybe.
Mm-hmm. To get the bishop, to hit the pawn. Yeah.
We might be about to see this. Bishop takes e6 is on the board, going for a concrete line, offering either a trade of queens, or if f takes e6, the same idea with a5.
Typical way, right? He goes for it. No tension, no nothing. Let's decide.
Yeah.
And he waited for games.
He waited for rook e8, which is clever. Now the rook would want to be back on f8, probably.
Certainly, it would enjoy that semi-open f-file, but now with the rook on e8, it's going to be just a clumsy piece with the doubled pawns on e6 and e5.
Mm-hmm.
So now queen takes or pawn takes?
I'm just more attracted to queen takes because it feels like the white queen is the one putting the pressure on e6. The black queen's quite passive. But black just feels a bit cramped, so queens off the board should help. But yeah, maybe a5 less attractive.
After queen takes a5, knight g4 is actually what I said. It's not so good, I think, for black because of bishop g5.
Bishop g5. But now b5, maybe. I don't know. Keep the a file closed.
That's important, actually, yeah.
Yeah, it's hard for white to break through or open any lines.
True. b5 is strong.
Yeah, maybe f takes, but it just feels a bit odd somehow. More ambitious, maybe.
If black takes f e6, what do you think? He plays for a win, or he just thinks that it's the best move, which he did?
You never know with the youngsters these days. They always think that whatever move they played is the best move, whether or not it plays for a win or not. Interesting. Knight e2 now.
I thought his idea was a5. Knight e2 makes sense as well, of course, but it looked like he was going for a very forcing line. Giving up the pair of bishops with a trade on e6, but going for something concrete. Now, after knight e2, we see d5, immediate pawn push in the center.
Yep. Maybe after a5, he would have played d5 anyway. The same idea of forking the white pieces.
True that he can now push a5 and transpose because with the knight on e2, there's no longer a d4 fork.
Yep.
A5. What about bishop g5 now?
So bishop for knight trade, you're happy with, like, if I just play h6 and provoke you, you're happy to take it?
Well, I just don't know what to play with white.
Maybe rook f8. I kind of want to set up rook f8, bishop c5, and something on f2.
Yeah. Knight g3.
Knight g3.
I'm not so happy with my knight.
Okay, bishop c5.
Rook e2.
Rook e2. So patient. I like it.
I'm scared. I'm scared that you want to do something on my f2 square.
Yeah, maybe not. Maybe it just doesn't work.
Maybe I have to go back and bishop e3. But what is my knight doing on g3 then?
Yeah.
Do I have to go later knight f1, knight d2, knight f3, or knight h2, knight f3?
Yeah, they sometimes do that in the Italian if they get time. Like if black, for example, takes and blocks it up, then maybe white will have time to slowly bring the knight round. But yeah, interesting position, the one we have on the board. It's just very, very tense. Where he never really wants to take. Black can take in both ways, actually. E-pawn looks healthy.
Can white go f3? I'm not sure I've ever seen this kind of move. But after all, we have h4 there already. So maybe after f3, bishop f2.
Yeah.
Stabilizing the center.
Knight on e2 doesn't love that.
You're asking nasty questions.
That's normally what you do to us, Judah.
Yeah,
I
asked
agree.
myself
But I like the idea. I like this f3 and maneuvering the bishop toward g3. It feels like a very tense moment, and we do see that on the time management as well. Again, Wei going really low on time, by the way. 4 minutes and 40 seconds left for him. He plays knight to g3 instead of pawn push f3 or any alternatives to what we have seen. So that's when we were saying, okay, cool, but what will the knight be doing on g3, right? It might have to go again and maneuver elsewhere.
How does black improve? I quite like the rook on f8, but maybe a bishop on d6 as well.
So. I think rook f8 is very good for later. Just preparational move.
Yeah.
And of course, it's there in a second.
He's doing his favorite thing, hovering his hand over the piece, then saying, "Oh, maybe not," but then he goes for it. Rook F8.
Keeping his substantial time advantage as well. It does feel like that's part of the strategy of Sindarov to put time pressure, to have the clock on his side in these games of the tie breaks. Rook to f8, very logical, activating the rook on the semi-open file and saying to white, okay, what's next? what you going to do there on the king side? Your queen is on h3, knight on g3, and now what? h5 is where his answer is. He's saying, I do have some intentions of an attack with pawn to h6 as well, perhaps.
After h5, black goes h6, I believe. And maybe white will transfer the knight f1, h2. Maybe, I don't know if I can do it immediately because d takes e4, h6 on the board.
Just to show this, d takes e4. Oh, it feels like there might be some tactics here. Rook d1. I don't... Okay, we're finding out. We see rook e2 instead, though. Rook e2. It's a very safe move.
Very, very safe, very prophylactical. Okay, so will black play rook f7 and preparing doubling the rook? Will he go knight h7 possibly? Also makes sense, I think, with the idea of bishop g5 and creating the square for... I mean, black knight on g5, wouldn't it look so good? Having the rook on f4, black is taking over.
I like that idea. Yeah, that feels like a good way to make progress as black.
Knight h7, for example. Yeah, bishop g5. Oh, this looks really good for black now. Just to show Judith's point, knight takes. You don't want to play queen g4 now because you get trapped.
Ooh, queen trap.
Whoops. So knight h7, very natural. The bar did slide. I don't know why. After knight h7.
Is there anything concrete?
Nothing concrete for white. It was just the fact that I think black was better until knight h7. I thought this meant white had an advantage, but no, it thinks that there's something better for black. I think he'll play knight h7.
If I
just
go
improves the piece, right?
If I go d4 first, bishop d2, knight h7, is it beneficial for white or black that I close the position?
Yeah.
Because sometimes e takes d5 can open up. Rook f7. Preparing anytime he's ready to go rook to f8. Knight on
Also
h4 would be useful.
Yeah. Very logical, both rook moves, the rook e2 and rook f7. Very similar how to bring the other rook into the game and double. White is doubling on the e file, black is going to be doubling rooks on the f file.
But eventually white is preparing to take e takes d5 at some point.
Yeah, maybe you should put a bishop on d6 at some point just to defend e5. But then I loved your plan with bishop knight h7, bishop g5 as well. So
I really like it too. Yeah.
We want to have our bishop on d6, on g5, the rook on d8 and f8. You know, it's like
hope chess. Everything. We want it
like
all.
a hologram.
It's true. Yeah.
No, like a hologram. Okay, we see it from here, it's on f8. We see it there, it's d8.
Maybe now d4, since the white rooks are blocked on the e file. Maybe
now Sindarov follows you, David. Bishop d6.
He doesn't want to define the pawn structure in the center. He wants to keep it flexible and plays bishop to d6. I like that he keeps the tension in the center. And we have seen where he always trying to release the tension. There is no easy way for white to release the tension here. Because if you do take on d5 as white to open up the e5 for your rooks, that capture usually favors black. You can take back either with the e pawn or the c pawn. And the pawn structure, the center of black, is really strong. Were you instead going with the bishop retreat, bishop to d2?
Okay, so d4 was not needed to push back the bishop. It went by itself also. At the same time,
he's
after...
regrouping his pieces too, right? He's opening up the e5 for the rooks, at least now with the bishop retreat, the double rooks. At some point, if he takes on d5, they would be attacking, but he would need his bishop on c3 to put enough pressure on the e5 pawn.
Well, maybe white is planning to play bishop c3, forcing black to d4, to play d4. If, let's say, black goes rook d8 to f8, which is a logical follow-up after rook f7 move. But, I mean, I was ready to play d4 without provoking me. But Sindarov...
Yeah, that's the thing, right? Sindarov wants to keep it flexible, doesn't want to define the center. Judith, we need to force him to push the pawn. You cannot just wait for him. But yeah, maybe that's what he wants. I could see that, because that is some kind of a progress, that you at least make sure that the center is defined and there is no longer this tension, constant tension in the center.
Yes. Yes, absolutely. I mean, I really like rook d8 to f8, because it can be not so simple for white. On f2, there are some problems can be later.
Yeah, and maybe once the bishop goes to c3, that will also renew your ideas of knight h7, knight to g5, because that bishop is no longer guarding the g5 square.
Yes. At the same time, probably e takes d5 can be played. It's getting real tension in this game. Black still has the time advantage, as Sindarov was playing very fast in the opening, as in previous games also.
Ooh, Judith, there's a really pretty line with your idea that after bishop c3, it looks like white is threatening to take on d5 and win the pawn on e5. But the engine says that your idea of knight h7 is so strong that black doesn't care about the pawn. And if you take on d5 as white, black simply plays knight to g5, and that the white queen barely has anywhere to go. After queen g4, rook f4 wins the queen. It's a beautiful queen trap. We have seen this in other lines that Judith and David analyzed, that queen has nowhere to go, even if you capture the pawns on d5 and e6.
Yeah, after knight g5, the white queen can get in real trouble, or going to h2 or h1. That's definitely not the square where the white queen
Very
wants
ugly
to be.
if you have to. Yeah, very passive it would have been. But Sindarov defines the center instead. He's saying, I am not interested in my pawn being attacked on e5. He pushes d4. The bishop goes back to d2. So now the center is defined, where he has achieved what he wanted, forcing Sindarov to make a decision in the center of the board.
Well, now black is trying. He played c5. b3, a6. And so black wants to go with b5 in the queen's side.
It does seem to be the case that he is ready to expand on the queen's side and push his pawns. Were ye retreating to f1 with the knight? Judith, you already called it. That knight was not doing much on g3. It needs to be going elsewhere, even if it takes a couple of moves.
It was disturbing my eye that actually it has no space on f5. I'm biting into my own pawns on e4 and h5. So let's look for some squares where it can be useful. Knight h2. Well, knight g4 is also a possibility to try to exchange the knights and simplify a bit. And I think that would benefit white to release the tension a bit. Queen e8, interesting. h5 pawn can be in trouble. Black wants to go b5, possibly go from f7 all the way to a7 if the file opens up, and threatening to take on h5.
I like this idea. I like that he's playing on both sides of the board. just threatening in certain cases with the rook move the h5 pawn. That would force possibly white to push g4. Otherwise, I guess you have to come back to g3 with the knight. And that was what you were saying, Judith. It just feels like it's not a very nice piece placement. Queen on h3, knight on g3, and neither of them are doing much.
Krishna 2 1 2 3 4 G4 G4. I think don't worry, it will come on the board. It will be there. The only question
it might have
is
to
when.
be played. Yeah, and this Sindar are going to try to provoke g4. David, how do you see this position after rook to a1? Will we see black targeting that h5 pawn with a rook lift over to the queen side potentially?
Yeah, I think so. I'm not sure where the rook goes. Like maybe a rook on b7 or c7 to support a later c4. That's the end goal for black. But yeah, I'm trying to figure out who I would prefer. Like I think I'm more used to these positions with whites, where I have a slightly healthier structure, but maybe on the passive side, compared to black, where you feel like you've got the activity. Rook e7 though, and the knight's back on g3. Okay, I'm going to now say I prefer black, just because that knight
What happened? What happened in this last one move, David?
The knight's back on g3. What can I say, Judith? You turned me so hard against that knight.
Oh, I love knights.
It's getting an exclamation according to the computer, so that the pawn on h5 is guarded, but still, it is a piece that's not going anywhere. I also prefer it from black's perspective. Judith, you have convinced us that white has nothing going on the king side.
No, don't be so upset with white. It's not so bad. You know, f4.
About white's position.
f4. Let's go. f4 takes e5. Back in business. Take initiative.
Wow.
e5 takes fg, queen g3. Bring back the other rook from a1 to e1.
Wow, this could turn.
Again, we let Judith attack. We always make this mistake, David. When Judith unleashes the attack, suddenly the board is on fire again.
Yeah,
no, the only thing I can say that I have some initiative and compensation, but maybe it's not enough.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just happy I don't have to watch that g3 knight anymore.
Oh.
Even a pawn then is better than the knight on g3, Judith.
Visually, yes.
It's gone again. It's gone. Queen e8 would repeat the position. Sindarov says no.
Oh, no draw offer. He's pushing b5.
It is a bit risky though, suddenly. Like you're allowing the white rook to get active later. No entry squares now, but take. The white knight will get round to f3 or maybe g4, like Judith said. And unless black is really quick with c4 and some scary threats that probably white just ignores, then this might help Wei Yi more than anything. He's moving that knight.
Is it a silent way of saying that I'm the one who plays for a win by Sindarov?
Mm-hmm. He's got more time, I guess, but I would think blitz, like he's so good at blitz, Sindarov. Like I thought maybe that was his match strategy, but he wants to
make it to shorter and shorter time controls. Could very well be the case.
Not necessarily because of the clock, but more the increment. Like Wei Yi is low on time in every game anyway, and here he gets 10 seconds extra. If he takes it down to the 5+3 or the 3+2, Wei Yi will not be able to survive for too long on a few seconds. So I thought maybe that was his
I have
strategy.
a question. On Queen e8, what does Wei has in mind?
Okay, attacking the pawn.
As maybe you can read his mind, of course.
Yeah. Surely he'll take on b5 and play rook a6.
Yeah, that I would think also. And then I move away with my bishop to c7.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. One of the moves.
And
my question is what happens with the h5 pawn. This is my big question.
Mm-hmm.
g4 or not to play g4?
Okay, g4. Finally, black's pieces aren't organized, so g4.
Was there anything else?
No.
Probably not,
helped.
Right?
Oh, we won't find out. And here white would have knight f3, knight h4, knight g6, but we see c4 and positions exploding.
Ooh. Sindarov said, okay. Let's be serious. Let's attack.
Mm-hmm. It's very
And after
logical.
knight f3?
Yep. F3. To take or not to take first on c4? Does it matter? I would probably take one more time, but I don't know why. It's hard to explain. But knight f3, as you said, Judith. The knight's coming.
Queen e8.
Mm-hmm.
No, but then queen e8, rook a6.
Yeah. Oh, just show that. Queen e8, rook a6. And if the bishop now moves, white's got a new...
Oi. I had this feeling you're going to show that my rooks are in trouble.
He takes once first.
And we do see those trades on c4 indeed, and then knight to g4 offering a knight trade. Pawn to c3, expanding further on the queen side.
Wow. Which way does the white bishop go? If it goes to c1, it might never move the rest of the game. If it goes to e1, it can maybe sneak out via a different diagonal, but temporarily it's more passive. Knight trade first.
Well, he takes on f6 first, it's a check, and then he will decide which square for the bishop.
I think he goes to e1.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he visualizes that bishop on h4.
Yeah.
That could be the next move for white. Most likely f3 to activate the bishop indeed with bishop to h4. Even if the rooks will move out of that skewer, the bishop still would be quite an annoying piece going f3, bishop h4. Definitely not sitting on e1, such a passive piece.
But rook f7, rook a7 plan is very sensible.
Yeah, I think I would still take black here just because unless white's able to land some blow against the black king, then it feels like he's the one asking questions. Rook endgames will be very nice for black. C3 pawn's so strong. Bishop endgame, I'm not sure. But if he keeps the queens on, it feels like black's so close to promotion in every endgame.
Yeah, that pawn is really powerful, making sure that the c2 pawn is permanently fixed and is a permanent target. It's so little space as well on the queen side for white. It's not pleasant. And when it comes to the time, by the way, it's already below a minute. I was trying to figure out, wait, he is on 59 seconds. Wei Yi, there's a 10-second increment per move, but 59 seconds in a not very clarified and easy to play position is not much.
I think there is a question now. Should black go bishop e7 and trying to go bishop g5? And probably white will be playing bishop h4, exchange the bishop. Or no?
Oh, that's a good question. I think if the bishops and queens come off, then white is in a bit of trouble maybe. But with the queens on, maybe white's queen will hit these pawns. Rook a2 played instead. He wants the other rook to a7 maybe, or maybe rook b7, rook b2. This is so passive, white's rooks, but maybe he's only got one weakness, so should be okay. Bishop to h4 played.
I like a lot those ideas with the rook coming to the second rook as well, coming to the queen side.
Mm-hmm.
Will he go rook a7 and try to exchange one pair of rooks? Or trying to play rook b7 and doubling on the second rank?
Yeah, it looks so ugly.
I would think rook b7, that he will keep the rooks on the board and keep the tension.
Yeah, white's rook will have to go to c1. But maybe there's no way through there. It's just one weakness. One big weakness on c2, but only one. It can be protected for now.
But some pressure in the position, some pressure on the clock. And that's what Sindarov has been doing really well in his match against Wei Yi, keeping the time advantage and putting pressure on the Chinese Grandmaster in both ways. The position and the clock at the same time. That queen maneuver looks nice, David. I like the drawing that you are making on the board.
Yeah, queen on f7 just covers everything. Oh,
looks like a very difficult position for white. Mm-hmm. But at some point, maybe f4 must be done.
How's he going to do it? He's going to put his king on h3, play g3, f4, and go for it.
Well, even f4 and takes e5.
Ooh. Yeah. Maybe a bit later. King h3 looks like maybe what he's planning.
He has 40 seconds to decide whether to sacrifice a pawn with f4 or go king h3. What other ideas are there for white?
I thought if white goes rook f1, rook b2, rook f2 to defend, and then f4, but I'm kind of afraid of having the black rooks on the first rank. G3.
He pushes g3, preparing to play f4 at some point. Still not possible, but it's one step closer to making it possible.
Yeah, like the computer gives 0.0 because it thinks probably that neither side can make progress, but it is the type of position where if black accidentally allows f4, white could be better, but if white accidentally allows the black rooks in, then black could be better. It's such a weird one. It's hanging in the balance. Rook's on the second rank now. Really passive rooks for white, but suddenly rook f2, king h3, f4. At least white's got a plan. Suddenly not so clear what black's doing next.
He plays king to h7, stepping out of the g5 for now. King to g2 by Wei Yi.
Maybe he wants to go g5.
Mm-hmm. Would make sense. Try and get some queen exchanges going. Although white can probably take en passant and just...
White will not exchange. White will sneak out with the king. But actually that was kind of a tricky thing. If white goes king h3, that would be kind of a trap, which black would be happy to play g5 takes and forcing the queen swap.
Oh, he's coming back round. He wants to play rook g8, maybe before g5. Wei Yi, 30 seconds.
Is he gonna push f4 or is he gonna make a waiting move or preparing for f4? He's about to go rook f1, also preparing for f4, activating the rook.
Rook b2, come back, Sindarov.
But after rook b2, maybe rook f2, ff2 will happen one day.
Yeah.
Could be. That way he is no longer interested in shuffling the rooks back and forth and keep it on the f5 where he is defending and potentially attacking at the same time after f4.
That's true. And the white king will hide on h3 later if necessary from the black rooks behind. And the white rooks can guard on the second rank.
Yeah.
Oh, but rook b7. Oh, he's made some time-losing moves. He spent several tempi with his rook.
Sorry, what is this rook b7? f4?
Yeah, now's the time. The bar
f4
rises.
is really calling for it. It seems to be the right moment now that black's rooks are no longer that active. Only a few seconds left for Wei Yi to make a decision. And he's pushing f4. It's game on. Now white is trying to take the initiative and attack.
Game on. And apparently the blue arrow, he has to take that pawn. He does take it. But it's turning. Momentum on white side. e5. How to change that momentum forever.
It looks like the best move, according to the computer, for black is to sacrifice the bishop on e5. Sacrifice it for that pawn and then grab the pawn on c2. If he moves the bishop, it's already a better position for white.
Doesn't play it.
But bishop e5 was a very difficult decision.
Yeah.
Really difficult indeed, especially with the time situation being only half a minute left for both players. Blue arrow saying that white should double rooks. That seems like a very logical and natural move.
Yeah, going for checkmate if black ever moves the rook off the 7th rank. That looks very strong, just improving the worst place piece. I think Wei Yi's going to win this. Like, there's going to be so many checkmating ideas against the black king, and they're both low on time, but he's under 10 seconds. He has to move.
5 seconds, 4. He doubles the rooks with only 4 seconds on the clock.
Sindarov, how does he even wait? The black queen can't move. Otherwise, queen g6 check comes. The black bishop has nowhere to go. The black rook is stuck on the 7th rank. Maybe the other one. He has to move the a2 rook, but where?
Maybe to a7. Try to go to f7 at some point.
Or rook a1. He wants to go rook e1 and take the e5 pawn, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Or queen c6 check sometimes. The white king vulnerable.
4 seconds left for Wei. He's about to flag.
Oh!
He
made that move with 1 second.
The 1 second man. The 1 second man.
And that is not normally a compliment, but it shows how calm Wei Yi is. Rook to b1. The rooks are coming behind. Can white deliver checkmate? Queen check is the best here. The white king can still march to g4. He has a big advantage now, Wei Yi, but no time. Oh, 4 seconds again. 3 seconds, 2 seconds.
Queen g6.
1 second.
Will he play it or flag? He's about to flag.
Oh my
Again
gosh.
with 1 second on the clock, he pushes g4.
And it's a big
Double
mistake.
question mark according to the computer. Queen g6, queen trade was a very strong move
Well,
for
rook
white.
h1.
And now does he have to play rook f1 or bishop g3? He's back down to 3 seconds, 2 seconds. He's surely going to flag. 1 second.
He plays king g3 with no time on the clock again. But now black and the attack on the king's side seems to be really powerful.
Oh my gosh. That's around 4 moves in a row now. He's played with 1 second left. And how long can he keep this up? His queen is attacked. He blocks. Wei. Oh my gosh. Will the rooks come off? Will black keep giving checks? Sindarov smells checkmate. He's going for a bishop trade. He wants to get his queen in now. It's Wei Yi on the defensive suddenly. This is reckless clock handling.
What a roller coaster game this has been. And still is, with both kings under attack.
Trades off bishops. Big check is threatened.
Move?
Queen
White
F2.
has to play king g2 apparently. Only move to not be losing. Every other move for white is losing the position.
4, 3, 2, 1.
And he
doesn't play it.
He didn't find it. Rook takes d4. Apparently black is completely winning.
With a check.
Rook h2.
Rook h2 is coming.
He has rook h2. He has rook g1, rook e1. Many rook moves are winning in this position for Sindarov.
Wow.
He's got 20 seconds. What a turnaround. Rook e1 played. I think white is losing the queen here. Queen g5 check is going to be deadly in some lines. This is over. Wei Yi's losing his queen.
He cannot save the queen and he cannot save the game. He made so many moves on 1 second and now he plays queen to g2. But after the check, now queen e3 picks up the rook on d4.
This is over. Sindarov's about to become World Cup winner 2025. He knows it. He looks away. Wei Yi leans back and stops the clock. It's a result. Wei Yi resigns. Sindarov wins the event. Wow.
What a moment. Javokir Sindarov, at the age of 19, becomes the youngest ever winner of the World Cup by beating Wei Yi in the finals in a roller coaster game. David, Judith, we have witnessed so many tense moments and so many back and forth in this final game in the Rapid. David, if we have a chance to bring back the board at some point, I think we have some more lines to analyze, but we do need to congratulate Javokir Sindarov on winning the World Cup, an event that started with over 200 of the best players in the world, now finishes in Goa after nearly a month with the youngest ever champion of World Cups in the history of chess. Javokir Sindarov from Uzbekistan takes the first place. What a day for Uzbekistan and all the chess fans out there. For the team of Uzbekistan, Sindarov makes it all the way through. He knocked out Yu Yangyi earlier and now he beats Wei Yi in the finals. I think we can just take a moment to analyze maybe that final position, the moment before the resignation happened, because it went from white is trying to white is no longer okay to black is completely winning.
Yeah, this was the final position. We'll break this down in a second. Black was about to take the white rook for free. But if we trace it back just 6-7 moves earlier before the result happened, we see the blue arrow appeared. This is where Wei Yi started to go down to 1 second on every single move. 4 or 5 moves in a row, living life on the edge. And if he had found this move, queen to g6, it would have been white with the advantage due to the fact that any checks would see the white king escape forward, a check. And this is actually a very safe hiding square for the white king. Queen trade, and it's actually the black king that is caged and unable to get into the game. This would have still led to a real fight, but g4 was a big mistake for many reasons, partly because the white king could no longer use that square. And Sindarov now took advantage by creating a series of threats. Rook h1, hitting the bishop. Wei Yi dropping low on time, played king g3. Now a hit on the white queen. That was blocked by Wei Yi. Again, the best move, but holding on for dear life. And it was here, after this very clever bishop retreat by Sindarov, that Wei Yi panicked. The bishop trade was forced. And in this position, rather than rook takes pawn, he had to find this move, king g2. And after the black queen came in, he would have had to find, check this out, rook f8, check. Only move to save the game.
Oof.
King takes f8. And
Find
this
it
one,
with 1 second on the clock.
good luck finding this with no time. And it turns out black's king cannot escape perpetual check. For example, if it comes forward, the white queen keeps checking. And if instead it had slid to the side, this check, and then this check. And this would have been a draw, but impossible to find in a scramble like that with nerves high and jangling. Rook takes d4 was what he played. Queen check, and Sindarov found this cool move, rook e1. The white queen has nowhere to go if it steps forward. A check, and the queen is lost. And instead, it stepped to the side. But this check and the double attack. Judith, what a finish. Sindarov, he deserved it for finding such accurate play at the end there.
And we do have the impressions from his camp, his brother, his coach, his family, his supporters are all there for Javokir Sindarov to celebrate this historical moment. The 19-year-old becomes the youngest ever champion in World Cup history.
All the congratulations for Sindarov winning the World Cup with all the fighting spirit. Of course, today it was not an easy day for him at all, because, well, the first game was not too sharp. It was kind of a soft draw at the end. He missed his opportunity, which would have been painful if he would lose the match, of course. But there is no need to think about that. But the second game, I mean, basically he made the decision when after bishop e6, he did not exchange the queens. He said, I'm taking with the pawn. I want to keep the queen on. And then later on also he showed the fighting spirit that he went back and forth when the knight was jumping from g3 f1, and then he said, no, I want to play on, I want to fight it out, I want to try on. He played b5. And well, for Wei, going down to 1 second, it's like really playing with your life. And today he paid for it. Because in such a position when you get unexpected moves and turning points, 1 second cannot be enough.
Certainly so, and even though Wei Yi went unbeaten for 28 games, in game 29, Javokir Sindarov beats him and wins the World Cup. Let's take a look at his path all the way to that trophy that's named after Vishwanathan Anand, how Javokir Sindarov went from an event that started with over 200 participants. He joined in from round 2 on, and oh boy, what a ride this has been for Sindarov. David, let's highlight some of the matches that were crucial in that victory for Sindarov to make it all the way to the finals and win it.
Yeah, he was so convincing, Sindarov, in the first couple of rounds he played in, winning in the Classical against Nikita Petrov, but also one of the informed players of 2025, Nicholas Theodoru. And he proved to be the bane of China, taking down Yu Yangyi as well in his first set of tiebreaks in round 4. Very impressive from Javokir, just a taste of things to come. And yeah, he kept that form going after round 4. Incredible stuff. And here we see the rest of his path, taking down Frederick Svana, who defeated Gukesh earlier in the event, sneaking past Jose Martinez in a really nervy quarterfinals. He was actually on the edge of defeat in that one, in a must-win situation. Javokir, after falling behind in that match, but after getting past Jose, it looked like he was always in control, beating his countryman Nodibek Yakuboev, and we saw the final there. He did it in the end, in 4 games, 2.5 to 1.5. Well-deserved World Cup winner, 19 years old only.
Only 19 years old, and he lost only one game in the entire event. The match that you're mentioning is Jospem Jose Martinez. That was the only match where he was on the verge of being knocked out, but he fought back, bounced back, and wins it all in Goa, India. Judith, David, what an event this has been. I would like to hear your final thoughts on what we have witnessed for nearly a month. This knockout tournament has had us all on the edge of our seats. So many of the favorites dropped early on in the event. Judith, how do you see the World Cup this year, and of course Sindarov's win overall?
Well, it was very exciting. It's always very exciting to see the knockout system unfolding, because I just talked yesterday with a friend of mine. He said, well, it seemed like in the going forward in later rounds, when we had only to the quarterfinals, when we didn't have players who you were rooting for, those big guys, right? But still, it's interesting. It's very interesting to see unfold the next generation and the young players, how they can fight it out, how they fight and gain their spot in the candidates tournament, and also for winning the championship, the World Cup. And it is really fun to follow from move to move what kind of decisions he was making, and it's always nice to celebrate the youngster success.
Absolutely, young star, and what a promising career is ahead of Javokir Sindarov. David, your thoughts on the entire event and the near months-long competition that we have been covering?
Yeah, it's been a joy. It's so much fun to watch the World Cup. I've played there myself. It's super stressful in the venue, of course, the brutal nature of knockout chess. But just the games we've seen some sparkling queen sacrifices in classical. We've seen some incredible opening preparation. We've seen some real topsy-turvy matches, lots of Armageddon, lots of nerves. Ultimately, yeah, it's been a feast for me. I've enjoyed every moment of following it, and yeah, many congratulations to Sindarov. I was doing some research beforehand, and apparently his prize money for winning the World Cup is nearly 20 times the average yearly salary in Uzbekistan. So that's life-changing for him. The last time, when Nodibek Abdusattorov won the 2021 World Rapid Championship, he was gifted a 2-bedroom apartment by the president of Uzbekistan. So I wonder what lies in store now for Sindarov. He's going to be a national hero, that's for sure. It's a golden age of chess for Uzbekistan, and really, really inspiring to see. Hopefully inspiring as well for the next generation, showing that the teenagers, they keep winning these big titles. It's possible. And the celebrations only beginning.
Yeah, absolutely. What a hero, as you have mentioned, for Uzbekistan. We look forward to hearing what kind of presents and support he'll be getting from his federation. There he is, the youngest ever champion in World Cup history, Javokir Sindarov. He has won it all and is being now wrapped up in the flag of Uzbekistan. And what a big hug, much deserved. Much deserved victory for Javokir Sindarov.
The Uzbek team, I must say, they surely have to love playing in India. In the Olympiad in 2022 in India, it was Uzbekistan with gold, and here we see another Uzbek winner on Indian soil.
True that it's a land where they have performed really well with the Olympiad and now the World Cup, and Uzbekistan will be hosting the Chess Olympiad next year, I believe. So there will be more chess from the Uzbek players and also in Uzbekistan. David, Judith, this has been such a thrilling event to cover, and I've always had so much fun in your company. So I would like to thank both of you for being amazing commentators, amazing analysts, and also amazing friends. I've had such a good time.
Thank you. It was great fun to be with you.
It's been a pleasure.
And
it's been a pleasure. Judith, too.
Of course, you will be able to follow Judith and David at future events. Hopefully me too. I don't know. I heard we'll be covering some of the future events as well. Of course, here on chess.com and other top events that are still left in the chess calendar. Thank you so much to all of our viewers as well across all the platforms where we have been broadcasting. From the entire team of chess.com, we would love to wish you a lovely day and thank you for your continuous support. See you at future events, and congratulations to Javokir Sindarov, the winner of the World Cup 2025.
December, the world turns to Doha, Qatar for chess at its fastest and fiercest. The 2025 FIDE World Rapid and Blitz Championships bring the globe's elite to battle under lightning time controls. December 26th to December 30th, Rapid and Blitz formats designed to reward precision, courage, and creativity. In the heart of the Middle East, Doha offers more than a board, a world-class venue, a cultural backdrop, and a stage worthy of legends. With a €1 million prize fund on the line and the title of world champion at stake. The 2025 FIDE World Rapid and Blitz Championships, the ultimate test of fast chess.
Welcome to the FIDE Online Chess Museum. The International Chess Federation proudly presents the FIDE Chess Museum, an online space celebrating the rich history and evolution of chess. Explore exhibits that trace the game's fascinating journey. Discover the origins of chess, beginning in the distant past, and follow FIDE's centenary journey. Rare chess sets, unique books and memorabilia, autographs of chess legends, trophies of historical tournaments, and stories of the chess champions. Explore the game's legacy and future. Chess is more than a game. It's a global culture of strategy and unity. Join us to experience this unique online journey where history, culture, and passion for chess converge. And also on your phone.